Welcome to the SMS podcast. Before I start this review on Trap, go like and subscribe and comment your favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie. Go rate this podcast 5 stars on Apple and Spotify if you're listening to this on Apple and Spotify, obviously. Let's get into the review of Trap, which stars Josh Hartnett. It's directed by M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. What did I think of this movie? What is this movie about? As from all the trailers, it reveals that this whole movie's about Josh Hartnett, who's a serial killer. He's inspired by the BTK killer. And he's a suburban dad, basically, with the dark side. Like John Lithgow in season 4 of Dexter. Even though, I don't know, he really hid that shit. But in this movie, Josh Hartnett, he's taking his daughter, Riley, to a concert of her favorite artist, Lady Raven, who's played by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. Not that daughter who directed that Watchers movie, but this other daughter who's apparently a singer. And her songs in the movie aren't that bad. Not gonna lie, they're pretty generic, but it's nothing compared to the songs from The Idea of You, which were all fucking garbage. The nerve in that movie, the YouTube views on one of the songs, it had like 1.5 billion views. That song wouldn't even get a million views in real life. What are we talking about? But yeah, we get to know Lady Raven. She's this huge pop star. They're camping out to see her, and they see her from this tour bus, which I guess she would be on a tour bus. I don't know. I think she'd be flying around. So they go inside the concert, and Josh Hartnett's like, "Hey, Riley, I gotta use the bathroom. I'll be right back. Or you can stay right here." She's like, "Yeah, Dad." And he goes to the bathroom. He checks his phone, and look what's on the phone. Ooh, this fucking guy, he kidnapped one of his victims. And when he leaves the bathroom, he runs into one of the daughter's friends' moms. And this lady is insane. She's fucking funny. So she wants to work it out on the remix with her friends. And Josh Hartnett's like, "Yeah, let's get pizza on Saturday, blah, blah, blah." Because he's trying to get back to his seat. And this bitch is being annoying. So he gets back to his seat, and he just notices all these cops around. It's heavily guarded. And then you get back to the concert. Some of the music's playing. So then Lady Raven takes a costume break, which I've never been to one of these pop concerts. I don't know how often they do a costume break. I don't know if they would leave their seat. It's a concert. Like, motherfucker, anytime I go to a concert, I'm literally, if I'm not blacked out drunk, then I'm dancing my ass off the whole concert. Why would I leave to go do something? You do that before the concert, like during one of the opening acts. But anyways, Josh Hartnett and his daughter go to buy some merch, and this is dumbass line. When Josh Hartnett's buying merch, there's this other girl that's trying to buy the same size shirt as Riley, a small, and Riley's like, "Well, we were here first." And then Josh Hartnett's like, "Why don't you let her get the shirt? We'll somehow get the merch some other way." And the guy who's selling merch is like, "Wow, you're really good people. I can tell you both have good values." What the fuck? And Josh Hartnett talks to the guy who's named Jamie, and he asks Jamie, he's like, "Hey, man, what's with all the police around? Is something happening?" And the guy's like, "Well, I'm not supposed to say, but you know the butcher on TV?" And Josh Hartnett's like, "Yeah, I think so." Well, they know that he purchased tickets to this concert, so they're gonna bust him when the concert ends. And Josh Hartnett plays it off, and obviously he's paranoid as shit, but he's good at hiding it, obviously, because he's a sociopath. I don't know if he's a psychopath or a sociopath, but yeah, the rest of the movie is just him basically Assassin's Creeding around his concert, or hitmanning. I've seen a lot of reviews saying it's like Hitman. And while he's walking back towards Riley, he notices this drunk ass woman, which reminds me of something that happened to me in Miami a few weeks ago, where I saw this woman face plant in Bayside, and literally the exact same situation. It was actually pretty grotesque when it happened. But anyways, he pushes this fucking woman down the stairs, and he's like, "Oh shit, fuck, this lady just fell down. We need to give her space, Riley." which was insane. So they get back to the next Lady Raven song, and oh my god, this cameo is so bad in this movie. We literally see the rapper Russ in this fucking movie, which is the most pointless cameo I've ever seen in my life. The only reason that he's in this movie and this cameo is even there is because he rises from the floor, which there is this hidden pathway, and Josh Hartnett goes to Riley, and he's like, hey Riley, you want to sneak down there and see what's going on? And Riley's like, what the fuck are you talking about, Dad? Are you insane? What are you talking about? So he goes back outside to the lobby, and he meets back with the guy selling merch. And he's basically buddies with Jamie when they're about to go get the shirt. And Jamie mentions that he's followed the Butcher's crimes for years. He's a fan of him, basically. Well, not a fan of him. He's a fan of, investigating murder porn. So when they keep talking, Josh Hartnett swipes Jamie's ID card, of course. And honestly, I don't know why Jamie is like BFFs with Josh Hartnett. I guess he's supposed to be like lonely. Whatever. It doesn't make any sense. So then we see Josh Hartnett sneak into the break room where the police are instructed to the Butcher's description. He's a guy in his late 30s to 40s. And then we see Josh Hartnett swipe this radio, Assassin's Creed in this bitch. And he uses it to overhear this FBI handler. And she's just describing how he works, his methods, how he's calm under pressure. And when he's on his way back, he bumps into the mom again, which I already covered. And knowing that the police will be expecting him to create chaos to escape, we see Josh Hartnett grab somebody's apron. He pretends he's an employee there. He throws these 2 glass oil bottles into a fryer, and one of the people working at this spot gets caught into the explosion, and boom, obviously it works. And then he goes up to the roof, and he bumps into these 2 SWAT officers. They're a little bit suspicious, but then he shows them this key card, and then they also ask for this code word that he got from Jamie earlier, and I thought it was hilarious. The fucking code word's Hamilton. So Josh Hartnett gets back to his daughter, and he learns from Riley that Lady Raven picks a girl in the audience to be a dreamer girl to dance to the song of the same name. So then we get, of course, like in every fucking movie of his, the M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong cameo, which is pretty funny. For some reason, he's like, I'm her mother's brother, I'm her uncle. I'm like, I think we know what uncle means, M. Night. And Josh Hartnett, he literally makes up a story about Riley in recovery from leukemia, and M. Night is like, oh, okay, we'll put her up there as a dreamer girl. And they get escorted to the backstage, they get picked out, and Josh Hartnett, he's still keeping an eye out for the FBI handler and the SWAT officers. And then we get this funny scene. We see Riley going up next to Lady Raven, and we see the same mom from earlier who's now with Riley's friend. And the daughter is just having a panic attack, just yelling at the mom. It's so fucking funny. And obviously Riley gets to dance with Lady Raven. And we see, a few minutes later, we finally see fucking Kid Cudi's in this movie, who is out of control. I guess he's living his best life now, Oh, well, let me chill out. We then see Josh Hartnett helping this girl who's about to faint. And, of course, he's Captain Save-A-Ho. And then we find out he's actually a firefighter. I guess it makes sense for this character. So then Josh Hartnett and Riley are brought backstage to meet Lady Raven, of course. We overhear Lady Raven. She's actually in on it. And the FBI handler's just talking about how calm and in control he is. And he's basically overhearing it. And then we get this funny-ass moment from Kid Cudi. Well, first we see Russ walking away, and Riley's all googly eyes for him, even though I don't think anybody in this planet has said that about Russ. But anyways, then we see Kid Cudi, and he fist bumps Riley, and then when he notices Josh Hartnett, he's all wet for Josh Hartnett. It's pretty funny, just like how Kid Cudi's wet for Timothee Chalamet. He literally moons him, and he's like waving at Josh Hartnett. It's fucking hilarious. So then Josh Hartnett goes back to listen to the radio, and he finds out that they're gonna check every mail in this concert. And obviously, the people who work for Lady Raven's like, you have nothing to worry about. Just have to do a security check. So that's when Josh Hartnett, which I don't think his character would have done this, but Josh Hartnett asks one of Lady Raven's staff, Lady Raven. He's like, can I talk to her real quick? So he goes to talk to Lady Raven. We finally get a scene of M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong's daughter acting, and I've seen a lot of people complaining about it. I don't think she was that bad. Just like, nepotism ruined the movie. She wasn't that bad. She was decent. So Josh Hartnett talks to Lady Raven, and he reveals everything. He even shows the victim he has locked up, and he just tells her straight up, if you don't escort us out of here, I'm gonna kill him instantly with this carbon monoxide. And I was just straight up shocked, like, whoa, like, what? After the whole movie, he's been sneaking around like Hitman or Assassin's Creed. I highly doubt that he would have just straight up revealed everything just to escape. It makes no sense to me, but I guess it's because he wanted to make Lady Raven one of his victims. I have no idea. So she escorts them out, and Josh Hartnett's like, oh, there's our car right there, thanks for escorting us out. But then Lady Raven's like, do you want to ride home? Because they're already in the limo. And she's like, of course, Riley. And the whole time, Josh Hartnett's just paranoid that she's going to do something. He's just ready to release that carbon monoxide at any point. We finally get to their place. We meet the rest of his family. His wife's played by Alison. She invites Lady Raven in for dinner. And during this dinner scene, Lady Raven's talking about how she studied up on the butcher, how he has OCD, and also how he uses these fake houses to set his victims up in, and also that he has mommy issues, referring to this vision of his mommy we see the whole movie. She also mentions that the police were tipped off because they found a ticket receipt at one of the houses, which is pretty stupid. A ticket receipt? That doesn't make sense. Because every fucking concert I've been to, you gotta buy the tickets on the app, unless you go directly to the box office the night of the concert. So Josh Hartnett the whole time is trying to kick Lady Raven out, which is hilarious. But Lady Raven's like, hey, Riley, why don't I play a song for you on this piano? And Riley's obviously excited. She's like, yes. So then after she's done playing, she suggests to Riley, why don't we take a selfie, Riley? And while she does this, she literally grabs Josh Hartnett's phone and runs to the fucking bathroom and locks herself in. And this makes Josh Hartnett go insane. He literally keeps banging on the fucking bathroom until eventually he stops. And while this happens, Lady Raven actually does something clever. She goes to talk to the victim, obviously. And after she does that, she logs into Instagram somehow. She goes live. She's like, hey, can you help me find this guy? Does anybody know where this place is at? And somebody does. And after that happens, Josh Hartnett finally gets into the bathroom and he sees that the victim escaped. He drags Lady Raven away. He's about to leave with her. He claims that the victim that escaped was supposed to be his last victim. Then he's going to commit suicide afterwards. So they all say. I remember Dexter said that in every fucking season of Dexter. He's finally about to leave, and when the garage opens up, we see his fucking family outside, and he's shocked, and then he realizes, oh, I forgot they had a couple exits they could have gone out of. And he claims that I didn't even realize it because I always kept my life separate from this one. So Lady Raven gets out of the car, and she stands with Riley and her mom and her brother. At the same time, SWAT is pulling up with the FBI handler. He goes back inside and they bust into the house. SWAT busts in, but of course he escapes. And he somehow escapes with the fucking SWAT uniform and drives off with Lady Raven in her limo. So Lady Raven wakes up after she got knocked out or whatever happened. Eventually, they bump into this crowd, and we get this scene of Lady Raven trying to free herself from these handcuffs. And eventually she does, and they realize it's her. And while this happens, SWAT and police pull up, and she gets out of the car. They shoot the tires out. But of course, Josh Hartnett escaped. All that remains in the limo is the SWAT uniform that's propped up. So eventually we see Lady Raven head towards the whereabouts of Butcher's victim, and she greets the fan that helped call the police. And then she goes up to Spencer to comfort him, and he's just thankful to be alive, of course. So then we cut back to Josh Hartnett's wife, who for some reason is still at the house, and the kids are at her sister's house. And of course, Josh Hartnett shows up to take her out, also to find out if she's the one who ratted him out, because he realizes that how is it even possible for them to find out it was me? It couldn't have been my mistakes. The reveal is that she's the one who ratted him out because she thought he was having an affair, but then she realizes that there's something more nefarious. And he asks her, how would you even know this? And she's like, well, I noticed because of the cleaning chemical smell on your clothes, which weren't normal because they smelled like cleaning chemicals used at a hospital and not for your job. And also she found one of the fake houses that he keeps his victims at because she looked through which buildings were condemned for fire hazards, which she plants the concert receipt at one of these houses before ratting him out to the police, which honestly, this reveal should have been left out completely. It makes no sense. They should have rewrote this shit. I don't know what M. Night was thinking, because why would she let the daughter go with him to the concert? I guess to not raise any suspicion, but that makes absolutely no sense. So while this is happening, Josh Hartnett is getting ready to kill her, but she offers him this pie that she made for Riley to celebrate something. And Josh Hartnett should have known that this shit was laced, or she was up to something. So he eats the pie, he realizes that it's been laced. He's literally about to pass out, and then SWAT busts in. Before he loses consciousness, he hallucinates once more and sees his mother again. When SWAT busts in, he's somehow still able to ambush them. Even though he's literally passing out, he's able to try to gouge somebody's eyes out. But of course, they're tasing the shit out of him, which I'm shocked they didn't shoot his ass up. So eventually he does get taken out. He finally gets arrested, and while he's on the way out, his daughter Riley comes back to hug him one last time before he's sent away. They finally pull him away. Then he props up this bike that's flipped over. I don't know whose bike this is because it has fucking training wheels on it. And he stands the bike upright, and you think it's because of his OCD, but then you realize that he did this to take off one of the spokes of the bike to unlock the handcuffs to set up the sequel, of course. The end. And then a couple seconds later, we get this funny ass scene of Jamie, the merch guy, and he finds out that Josh Hartnett is the butcher. He's like, oh my god, what the fuck? I thought he was my boy. And the end. Wow. That was a lot. So let me get into the positives. Josh Hartnett, of course, this is probably the best performance of his career. I mean, what else would you say is his best performance? Fucking Wicker Park. The way he moves in this movie, it's like he's an actual serial killer. It's crazy. Or like he's a hitman, like the video game. Or like Assassin's Creed, he really moves like a video game until the end of the movie. Even then, he still moves like that. The cinematography is definitely another positive. It's so claustrophobic. Also love the lighting of the cinematography. Another positive I'd give is Kid Cudi's cameo. He's pretty funny in this movie, even though he's literally playing himself, allegedly. Another positive I'd give this movie is how funny it is. Just like most M. Night movies, except for a couple, the wooden dialogue is so funny in this movie, especially the interactions that Josh Hartnett has with the mom of Riley's friend or frenemy. That lady was hilarious. She was just prying on Josh Hartnett the whole time. Also thought that Alison in the movie acted well with Josh Hartnett, especially the final scene in which she poisons him with the pie. I also thought that Riley in the movie was pretty good, even though she doesn't really have much to do other than act like a rabid fan. So let's get into the negatives. I thought the entire movie should have taken place in real time, or that the whole movie should have just been set in the concert and not leave at all. It could have been more intense. I guess because of the budget, they didn't want to make the entire movie set at the concert, because that'd probably be really difficult to film all these scenes, especially involving crowds, even though Brian De Palma did that in Snake Eyes. Also, the twist could have definitely been better of the wife being the one who ratted him out. The writing of the movie is incoherent, especially how, which I already said this, but the fact that the mother let Riley go with her dad, even though it was a sting. I mean, he could have literally taken Riley as hostage. So that makes absolutely no sense. I can't believe they didn't figure that out in Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. Also, the cameo by Russ. It really should have just been Kid Cudi and cut Russ out completely. I don't even know why Russ is in the movie, because all he does is perform a song with Lady Raven. And it's this short-ass scene. And all it shows is this entrance from the ground up that they don't even get to in the movie. So I don't even get what the point of that scene was. Another negative I have is that the movie definitely could have been shorter by at least 10 minutes, because this movie is an hour 40. That whole scene of him confronting his wife is so dragged out. The final shot of him freeing himself from the handcuffs, that was definitely great, but the rest of that third act was so dragged out. It was insane. Yeah, I still do really like this movie, though. I don't know what it is about it. I saw somebody say it's the best M. Night Shyamalan movie since The Village. The Village, the dumbest twist I've ever seen in my life. No way. I did like this movie better than Old and Knock at the Cabin. It's definitely more entertaining, because those movies are pretty depressing. And this movie is just a pulpy thriller. That's the review. I'd give this movie a 6.5 or 7 out of 10. Thank you for listening. Bye.